I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby. With me is Kathryn Hahn, one of the fan favorite stars of WandaVision on Disney Plus. And Kathryn, I have to start out by asking, how does it feel to be a chart-topping iTunes artist, thanks to Agatha all along?
I mean, Sam, it is so surreal. And like anything this year, it's like, what is reality? Am I? Who knows? I remember when my friends were telling me that it was a very bonkers week, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's bananas. I knew that it was a very catchy tune myself. One might call it a don't they call them earworms? Is that the
Hmm?
expression
An
that the kids
earworm?
use? So I definitely knew that it was in that territory, and I knew how brilliant the Lopez's were. But yeah, that was an unexpected twist in the trajectory of this particular human's life. Yeah, did not see that one coming.
Well, it's a very, it was an incredibly viral moment, a very highly discussed moment in a show that was one of the most discussed shows of the year,
Mm.
frankly. Did you have a sense, especially your character, there's a lot of speculation. Did you have any sense that it was going to be that sort of feverish and that popular while you were filming it?
No, I did not. I mean, I knew that the Marvel fans are incredibly passionate, and I knew that there was an enormous fan base going in, and that this show was not supposed to be the first Disney Plus Marvel show out of the gate. It was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We were kind of, I was told, supposed to be the kind of experimental cousin coming out second. So, I had no idea how it was going to land. I knew what we were doing was very special and very different. And I knew that whenever I'd watched those Marvel movies with my kids, the relationships, I remember the little teeny sprinkling of that love story between Wanda and Vision had always captured me as something really as powerful as the like universe ending stakes was that little heartbeat of that love story. And so I knew that there was something very special in taking that and combining it with her origin story, which is so dark, um, and based on so much just grief and emotion, that I knew it was going to be something very, very special, but I had, of course, no idea it was going to land the way it did. No, that was a real surprise.
One of the obviously one of the conceits of the show is this sort of jumping through different sitcom eras. And I talked to Matt Sheckman, and he said
Mm.
you all had a sitcom boot camp to sort of dive in and learn everything. What was sort of the most surprising thing that you learned about studying all of these sitcoms? What stuck out to you that you used?
I mean, I think that it was interesting to see when we became cynical, or when we started to become sarcastic, or when our comedy kind of lost, I don't want to say lost its craft, but kind of became a little loosey goosey. That was very interesting to see those moments. And it kind of, you can see it also in the camera work when things just became a little more, even if I know those shows are not improvised, they feel more improvised, and they feel like there's a wink or a baked in cynicism, that were not there, I guess, in the earlier decades.
And it just seems like, especially for you and Elizabeth and Paul, who are really entrenched in that world, like it was an absolute blast. You can sort
Uh,
of tell you guys are just having the best time up there. What era was the most fun for you to play?
I think for me, it was the 50s, the first episode we shot, just because it was the furthest from my experience. And I was able to tap into so many women members of my family. And it was the most, um, I guess, technically a challenge. So that felt the most interesting. I'm certainly glad that we are beyond the corsets and the frickin' pantyhose nonstop and frickin' having to wear heels all the time, and you know, all that crap that goes along being with a housewife. I mean, I'm so glad we're way beyond all that nonsense. But from a technical standpoint, it was the comedy was really fun to dive into, because it really required much more, like, I think, an earnestness that maybe I had not. I it's hard for me to go there. Usually I'm a cynical bird, so it was fun to have to go there and to study those old ones, and to just look at like the Dick Van Dyke and see, and Mary Tyler Moore, and just all those, geniuses, and see the craft that had been put into those very effortless looking sequences that were just choreographed.
Yeah. And you are revealed to be Agatha Harkness. I would think it must be quite a relief now to be able to talk about that, because there was so much speculation and theorizing going on around that. What was the experience like, having to constantly keep this secret about like a major portion of your character?
Oh, I mean, it really wasn't an enormous, she's not a very, very well-known player in the Marvel universe. And so while we were making it, it wasn't that difficult. And I think Kevin set it up so well as a nosy neighbor, because it kind of opened it up to a lot of speculation, I think. But once the train left the station, I'll tell you, when we started doing press, the Agatha, I had to do a silent prayer before every interview that it wouldn't slip out, because that became very difficult. My kids knew, and to their credit, they told nobody, which I was very, very impressed with. But I don't think it was as difficult. I don't know. There were so many other things. There's such few good surprises, Sam, left on the planet, that this felt like an okay one to keep to myself.
That's very true. And in the comics, it's an interesting relationship, because in the comics, Agatha is a sometimes mentor, sometimes antagonist, and we see a little bit of that kind of hinted at in the show too. So how did you kind of view the relationship between Agatha and Wanda?
Well, Matt had brought this up, and I think it was right on, and this became kind of our North Star, was that it was a little bit of the Amadeus Salieri relationship, which is like the older musician who has the most passion and the most technique, but just could never achieve that natural gift or greatness that the younger protege just has naturally. And I feel like that is just what the Scarlet Witch is to Agatha. Agatha wishes that she and craves and is hungry for, and is jealous of all of that which the Scarlet Witch just is, and doesn't even realize it. Like, doesn't even realize the gift that she has, her power. And it's in that really delicious gray area that I found it to be so fun to play. That Agatha isn't just, your straight up villain. There seems to be a lot of, to me, I was excited because there's a lot of different texture in there. She's her guide, her mentor. She wants to be her friend. There's like a maternal quality there. Like there's so many other things in that relationship that I was excited to explore.
Yeah. And I think, I feel like this is maybe the first project of yours I've seen that requires like the use of major green screen stunts.
Wires.
Yes. So
fake blasts. Yes, for sure. That did not happen on Transparent. No.
Well, in shooting like a scene, like the final confrontation and fight scene between yourself and Elizabeth, did you find that you had to sort of work differently or prepare differently with considering those elements?
There's a couple things. I would say, I did not feel like I had to prepare differently because it has to come from the same place. I'm still just, you're always playing pretend, whether it's just a camera and a boom operator, you have to ignore that they're there, or whether it's a green screen and a huge fan and a thousand people standing around with shields on, and it's the same. You still have to find that elemental focus between yourself and the eyeballs of the person you're in a scene with. That being said, I had never been involved in something in which the character the bird I'm playing, was such a collaboration to create. There's so many artisans involved in the building of Agatha. So it was, my amazing my stunt double, co-conspirator, Whitney Coleman, who just helped me so much, and our amazing Jennifer White, who is our movement choreographer, who helped Lizzie and I find our individual hand movements, and the Wise, our magic, who helped us literally find our magic vocabulary. And so that was, and Courtney Young, our dialect coach, Beth, who helped me, who is my wardrobe person, who helped, literally was just, we were thick as thieves by the end of it. It was very funny. So I'd never been involved in something, I'm a very, usually no muss, no fuss. Like, I carry my costumes, I carry my props, I have my water bottle, I've got my script. I'm like, so this was a real exercise in like letting go and surrendering. And it was a very moving experience in that way to me, how many women were involved in the building of this bird.
And she's Agatha, unlike many Marvel villains, she survives the finale. And it seems like there could be like more story there, at least to my eyes. Would you be willing to return to another MCU project? And if she was brought back, what are the aspects that you would be hoping to explore?
Oh, of course I would be willing to come back. I've heard nothing. I know Jack and everybody was very clear that this was going to be a one and done situation. And I feel very, the season finale was the season finale and written as the season finale, which I think was so brilliant. And so satisfied with it as a whole. If I were to ever come back, there's so many aspects of her that I think are fascinating. She touches in so many different worlds throughout the comics. She's a centuries old witch and has seen a lot, and has there's a lot of different people and beings that she's crossed paths with over the last couple of centuries. So that'd be really, of course, a blast to explore.
And it seems just like you are at a point in your career where you're playing tons of different types of roles, which, not every actor gets the opportunity to do, from Agatha, who has so many different layers, to things like Private Lives or Bad Moms or Transparent. Like, they're all very different from one another. Is there still a type of character or a type of story that you're really dying to explore?
Oh, Sam, that's such a good question. I am so open to whatever the bird is. Like, I'll know her when I meet her, I guess. I love horror so much. I love watching horror so much. And besides that, I just know her when I meet her every time. So I think that has made for a really interesting journey, and one that I'm so thrilled to have been afforded the opportunity to go on. I got into this business in college. As a child, wanted just to play pretend. And, I was grandma one day and on Little House on the Prairie another day, in my mind, not literally. But, I got to do all the different. So this is the fact that I'm now in my 40s and I'm able to realize that and feel like I'm in constantly a summer stock in a summer stock company, that I'm able to do like a farce, a drama. This is why I love my job so much. And so I don't take it for granted that I am still able to operate in those ways and be thought of in in a lot of different ways is not lost on me. It's I love doing I loved doing WandaVision so much. It was such a thrill and nothing I could have anticipated in my life. And in the same kind of unexpected depth that I had while working on, I Love Dick or like Transparent. Like it's all interesting birds that I've gotten to peek around in.
Well,
and amazing humans I've gotten to work with, for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of Transparent, that you were previously Emmy nominated for your role as Rabbi Raquel there, for a really outstanding season, that iteration. Do you feel like after that experience that opened up doors? How did that award season and that Emmy nomination affect your career?
I mean, it was the most, again, that was just one of those, it was one of those moments that you never expect and are always, I mean, it was the most thrilling. I still have the little tickets that my daughter made for the night. Like she made Emmy tickets and a cheese platter. So while my husband and I were at the Emmys, she and my son and their babysitter had like an Emmy watching party. They had like, sparkling Martinellis and a cheese, like so cute. So I still have the little tickets that she made for her big brother and the babysitter. It was just like a really crazily delicious and meaningful night. I, as an actor, I think it goes back to your question before, and just as an actor, I am just, whatever helps me just keep one foot in front of the other and have opportunity. I'm just like, just hungry for it. So it's all delicious peanuts, for sure. It's all just thrilling. I was so tickled by it. And the fact that I am still able to work at, and that so many women are able to work at ages in which we were told, like, and that the most interesting parts of my life have happened at an age where I have been told, is like, I'm just so excited for these chapters of storytelling that are yet to be told, and for these incredible wizened audiences that are telling us that they're hungry for these stories to be told.
Well, I think we're all excited for the next chapter as well, so we can't wait to see what other characters you meet along the way coming up.
Thank you, Sam. This was so lovely.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. If you're out there watching, subscribe to Gold Derby. Keep up to date with us throughout the season. And Kathryn, it's been a pleasure.